Hello everybody, it is Zombie with two eyes and welcome to my channel. I may be undead, but I look alive thanks to makeup, skincare, and hair care. It is now time for another Declutter Saturday, and this is episode 5. So this will be 10 products as always. Today we'll be centering around body, face, eyes, and lips. There is 1 body product, 3 face items. We have 4 eye items and 2 lip items. So we will start with the body item. So this is a one hand washes the other Indulgence cream, is in Jack in Black. So this brand was one of my favorites since probably my high school year. They started kind of my love of indie fragrances. They are amazing. They aren't currently in business, but there's been rumors of them coming back. As I did with my last body product, I'm going to give this a sniff, give it a little bit of a hand test to see if it's still good or not, and if not, I will just throw it away. So this scent, I don't know if I remember the scent notes for this. It was definitely a favorite. It was berries and pepper, I think. It actually doesn't smell too horrible. It's still got a nice thick consistency. It's not giving me too much of a smell. I do get a little berry, but that's about it. It does feel really nice still. It doesn't feel runny or crusty. I don't know. Based on its age, I probably should just throw it away. And I think that's what I'm going to do in the hopes that it will come back at some point. So, decluttering 1 out of 1 body product. And this is recyclable, so I'm going to clean out the container afterwards and recycle it. Next up, we're going to look at face products. So I have 2 single blushes and then a blush palette today. So the first one we're going to look at is the Physicians Formula Argan Wear Ultra Nourishing Argan Oil Blush in Natural. So I got this probably 1,000 years ago, and I apparently have never used it. I always loved the look of this blush. It's so pretty. So let's do a quick swatch and see if it's powdery or anything like that, because I have not used this yet. It feels really good still. So because it's brand new, that gold finish is still on there, so you still get a little bit of that gold sparkle running throughout. Let me see if it's still prevalent if I go deeper into the pan. No, so if you go deeper, it actually turns into a more like darker blush, which is really interesting actually. And I kind of dig it. I'm actually kind of in love with this blush. So I'm going to keep this and try and use it up this year just because it's really, really pretty. So next we have a Lapcos blush in Tempting Me. I got this, I think, in a Fashionista box either last year or in 2019. It's just a really pretty peachy color. It's pretty much the standard blush, which is that peachy pink tone with a little bit of gold glitter. So let's see. Compared to the other blush, it's actually very orange. And I kind of like it. So it's actually rather like a fluorescent orange, which is really unique in my opinion. I mean, I do have a lot of orange blushes, but this one's just got a really nice sheen. It's not super pigmented, but just pigmented enough where you would be able to see it. So I'm definitely keeping this one. It's super pretty and it's really dynamic because it's got like just a really light sheen that kind of goes towards a pinky side. Our final face product is the Pretty Vulgar Nesting Bleep Face. So I received this in a BoxyCharm a couple months ago, and I wasn't super excited about this palette. So I don't know if I'm even going to keep it or not, or see if somebody else wants it, but let's see. Here are the swatches. So as you can see, we have like the really bright highlight and the corresponding blush next to it, which is actually pretty patchy. And then you have this really bronzy highlight, which is real dark for me. I don't know how I'm ever going to use that. And then you have the really light contour, which is also pretty patchy. A really bright pink to gold duochrome blush, which is gorgeous, and then a darker bronzer contour. It's not a bad palette per se, it's just not my favorite, especially because the two big things for me, which is this blush and this contour bronzer, are just insanely patchy. Let's see if they're buildable. So the blush is buildable and actually builds up really nicely, but the bronzy contour shade does not. So this kind of just blended away. It's not as patchy as before, but it's definitely not super noticeable. I don't know. I'm going to put this in the maybe pile just because it does have some really gorgeous colors, especially this duochrome bright pink blush. I just don't see myself reaching for this as often as I may, unless I'm like going somewhere for like 2 weeks. For the face, we are keeping 2 and then potentially decluttering 1. Let's move on to the eyes. So we have 4 eye products, 2 loose shadows, and 2 palettes. 2 palettes. I don't know why I do this to myself. Okay. So the first loose shadow is from Dawn Eyes Cosmetics, which they are still active in the indie community, and this is one of their first original shades called Pittsburgh White. So this is just a very glittery, just stark white color. So let's see how it performs. So today we are going to be swatching with my Luxie large shader brush. Here is what we're looking at. So it's a very like platinum almost color. It's not very stark matte white, which it almost looks like. It's very glittery, very shiny, borderline metallic. Let me see if I can build it up just a teeny bit more. Nope, that's where it stops. There's no really any base pigment. It's just mostly like metallic. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this. I don't see a need for it in my collection, especially since I have a lot more shadows that are a lot more pigmented than this. So I'm going to declutter this one. Up next, we have the Shiro Cosmetics Irregular Bears Meeting. So this is another sample product from Shiro, which, as you know, does not exist anymore, sadly. This is just a gorgeous, really dark brown shadow. It just seems like it's a matte, but it does have a little bit of like a goldy glitter going on. So let's swatchy, swatchy, swatch. So this is absolutely stunning. So compared to this color, it looks like it doesn't even exist. So this is just a very nice brown neutral matte color with a little bit of brown glitter. So it's nothing like super special, but it just feels really nice and pigmented, and it just feels good. And this is just one like swipe. There's no second dipping, nothing. One dip, one swipe to perfection. I'm 100% keeping this, and what I'm doing with any of my loose shadows that I am keeping after the Declutter Saturday is I'm pressing them into pans, so I will be pressing this probably in the next couple days. So next up is our first of 2 palettes. This is the Ruby May Cosmetics Peppermint Mocha palette. I purchased this on Black Friday of 2020 with the Pumpkin Spice palette. I really thought this color story was pretty, and same with the Pumpkin Spice one. The color story is really pretty, and I know their quality is actually pretty decent. So let's swatch this and see if I still love it. Alright, so here's what we're working with. So there is not a single color in this bunch that is patchy or not pigmented. The only one that gives me a little bit of weirdness is this last color here, which is gingerbread, but it's actually a perfect transition color. I've used this palette a couple of times, but look at this color. It is gorgeous. This is Chai Spice. It's a beautiful orangey bronze metallic, which is like to die for. I love the satins and metallics in this palette. I think they're all beautiful. And the mattes are actually performed really well. So I'm definitely keeping this. There's nothing wrong with this palette in any way. If you really like color stories like this, where there's not a bad shadow in the bunch, you can pick these up usually for 50% off their website. They have sales all the time, and you can even get this with the Pumpkin Spice palette in a bundle. So I definitely recommend this palette. So I'm definitely keeping this. Last eyeshadow palette we have is the Ulta / Marvel's Avengers palette. So this came out, I think, when the Endgame movie was coming out, and I totally wanted this because I'm a huge Marvel fan, and I thought the color story was nice. It made sense to the movies, and so I totally picked this up. And in the time I've had this, I haven't really reached for this very much. So I want to see if I still even want it. I may not, just because I remember not liking some of these. So let's do some swatches and find out. So looking at this, the first row is really, really pretty. You have this red and gold duochrome. You've got a very nice matte. You've got this really gorgeous like bronze metallic, a really nice green, and a really nice like white with a slight purple shift. The second row is decent. You've got the gold, satin, very, very light satin burgundy, another white, and this is definitely a very light satin white. You've got a matte teal blue, and then you have another like a pink, a light pink, metallic. The bottom row is actually where it gets really disappointing because all the colors are kind of bad. So like especially this blue is the most patchy thing ever. If you look at my pan in the blue, I've had to dig at this a lot to get stuff out of it. So it's not that great. The green, this final color here is okay, but the rest of the shades in the bottom row are just really, really poor in quality. I mean, the first two rows are really nice, and I do like the first two rows, but to have a whole row of colors that just don't work, like this whole row is just kind of bleh, is not very inspiring. I don't know. Part of me says to keep it because the top two rows are so nice, but I can probably dupe this in a good majority of the palettes I own. So I'm going to put this in the maybe pile. Maybe I'll use it a little more, make it my project pan this year. Who knows? So out of all the eye products, I am decluttering 1, keeping 2, and possibly decluttering or attempting to pan this year 1. So finally onto the lippies, we have 2 bullet lipsticks. The first one is a Lime Crime. I think this was from their metallic or their Perlees line. And this is in the shade Asphalt. Let me just say how much I love the packaging. I love the floral, it's so pretty. And here is what the lipstick looks like. It's a really gorgeous color. It's like a purple with a charcoal in it. I really love this color. It's definitely a very dark gray purple. And it definitely has a lot of glitter in it, which is fantastic. So I'm a huge fan of this color. I'm not getting rid of this. It's super unique to my collection, and I love the formula, so this is obviously staying. The second lipstick is actually a MAC lipstick. This is one of their Sheer Supreme lipsticks in Fashion City. So I've had this for quite a while. So this is just a very nice orange coral color. It actually comes off way more orange out of the tube than it does in it, but it definitely has that peachy coral tint. I really like this for spring. This is definitely a product I like to use definitely in spring and summer, especially because it's just a nice glassy looking lip. Let me see if it still smells good. It is starting to get that lipstick smell, so this will probably go bad soon. I'm actually going to make this a spring pan, so I'm going to start using this pretty soon, probably in March, and see if I can use this up this year, because I think I've used quite a bit of it. No, not really. I have not used apparently a ton of it, but I want to see if I can use this up this year, so I'm going to also have this be a project pan for this year. So out of 2 lipsticks, I am keeping 1 and going to pan 2. So overall, we are decluttering 2 products and keeping or adding to a project pan 8. Not my best declutter, going to be honest. I was hoping to declutter more, but I just pulled a lot of stuff I really like this time. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment, but only if you feel like it. And I hope you stay safe, stay healthy, and continue embracing all of those amazing moments. And I hope you have a great and wonderful day. Bye.